Back here with Sabry Wazwaz, anti-war committee, just came back from a trip doing a documentary here in Israel. We were talking about, they really intentionally, their security or even in the street, they try to give you a hard time. They try to make your life difficulty. And you are an American and coming to visit. So how about the people who live there?
Oh, I can't even.
So what did you see? What did you talk about?
Let me just give you an example how bad it is over there. Palestinians who live inside of Israel, meaning outside of the West Bank, they have the IDs that allow them to maneuver wherever they want.
About 1 million people or so.
Yeah, at least over that. So the Palestinians who don't live in the West Bank have the ID that allow them to maneuver and go wherever they want. But here's where it's still apartheid. Palestinians that live in the same places that a Jewish person lives, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, in Yafa, and so on, that's the unoccupied territories. They pay the same high taxes the Jews pay, but they don't have the services that Israel gives the Jews. They don't have the trash coming through Arab neighborhoods to pick up the trash, yet they pay the high taxes every year. They don't have the roads fixed by the Israeli government. They don't have the typical services that a Jewish person has. Why are you going to make them pay all those high taxes if you're not going to give them those services? What's the high taxes for?
So they live in ghettos or what?
They live, there's neighborhoods where Jews and Arabs live
together
amongst each other, but you'll see neighborhoods where the Jews are on this side of the street, you'll see Arabs on this side of the street. You'll have neighborhoods where they live in between each other, but the neighborhoods where the Arabs live mostly close together, they'll fix the roads on this side of the street, pick up the trash on this side of the street. They won't give the Arabs the same services, even though they live in the same city, like Beit Hanina, for example. That's a city, that's a suburb of Jerusalem. Shafat, that's another city, suburb of Jerusalem. There's Jews and Arabs. When I say Arabs, I say Christians and Muslims. Let me just quickly.
Yeah, most people think Arabs.
Yes,
yeah.
they don't understand that Palestinian is a people. Palestine is a country. Palestinian is a people. There are Palestinian Christians. So the people who are Christian have to understand, you have to feel. If you don't want to feel for the Muslims, then that's fine. How are you not going to feel for the people that you claim you care about all Christians?
Yeah.
They don't have the services that Israel provides for the Jews. And then let's say a Palestinian commits a crime. Let's say that home belongs to his parents. How do you feel knowing if your son did something you had no idea and it's your home?
Yeah.
He lives with you. It doesn't matter. If you're a Palestinian, they will come and demolish your home, even though it's your home, even though your son committed the crime. If a Jewish person commits a crime, it doesn't matter even if the father himself committed the crime. Nothing happens to a Jewish person's home.
Property or anything.
Nothing. They call him crazy and they say nothing happens to him. But if a Palestinian commits a crime, even if it's not his home, if he lives there, it belongs to his grandfather, the home is demolished.
So what's the idea of demolishing home? You take him, put him in jail, put him for life. What's the idea of demolishing homes?
Whatever they can to make the life for Palestinians miserable, so they could do whatever they can to hope that Christians and Muslims, as much as possible, get sick of it and leave it.
But it's not happening.
There are Christians and Muslims that have been leaving because they can't take being humiliated, felt like they live in cages. The military checkpoints, I have it all documentary. You should see what they have to walk through. For people who are not driving through, for them that have to walk through, people say they live in the Khalil, Christians, Muslims, and they want to go to Jerusalem. They have to have so many circumstances to get that special permit. They call it the tasrih. To be able, a Palestinian to go into Jerusalem who lives in the West Bank, in the Khalil, they need special circumstances. And most of them are, if you're younger, you have to be married and have kids. And if you're not married and have kids, you have to at least be an elderly person, 55 or older. If you're Jewish, you could be 15 years old, you could have been arrested several times, you could have been jailed. There is no special permit for you. You go and you come as you please. Yet a 90-year-old Palestinian who was born there, lived there his whole life, he can't go and come as he pleases in his own homeland.
So tell us a little bit about the documentary. So how do you meet people, introduce yourself, and how you get to talk to these people, that either the Israelis, the Jewish, are they're suspicious of you, and the Arabs, Palestinians might be fearful to speak.
A lot of Palestinians were scared to talk to me on camera. And I felt bad for them because they look at you and they say it with fear. You could tell they have fear. They're like, if Israel catches us saying anything about them, even if they're just speaking about what what happens to them, not saying anything violent, not preaching they wish death or hatred about Israel, nothing, just simply stating what kind of racism happens towards them. A lot of them are scared to talk, and those who do talk, they always say, please make sure all we want is get our voice out to the people, especially in America, especially the Christians. They're getting fed up, and I ask them, especially the Christians, I ask them, how do you feel? Majority of people in America think Israel protects you, and they'd be like, this is ridiculous. Protect us? We're second-class citizens. And I'm like, that's why I need your voices. That's why I got them documented in my documentary. I was at the Church in Nativity. I was at the Holy Sepulchre Church in Jerusalem, which is called Knesset de Kiyama. And that church, Christians are going to be surprised to find out, the caretaker for the church in Jerusalem, the Holy Sepulchre Church, one of the holiest churches in all Christianity, the caretaker is a Muslim. Hundreds of years ago, Christians were fighting who gets to be the caretakers of that church. And they decided they're going to hand the keys over to a Muslim. So this way, none of the Christians feel like, why isn't it me? Why isn't it me? Why isn't it me? So they handed it over to a Muslim. And for over almost about 800 years now, a Muslim family is the caretakers of that church.
That same family descent, or is just
same family descent?
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that story. You know, something like that happened in India too. When there was one of the leader also was a Muslim for years, for some reason like that, been fighting with Israel. You know, did you get to talk to any Israelis on camera?
Yes, and I have them on camera. One of them, his name is Moshe. He lives in an area where it's majority Jewish people, but there are also Palestinians and Christians, Palestinian Christians and Muslims that live. And in the market, one person who works with him is a Palestinian Arab, and he told me stories about he's from Morocco, and his parents are still in Morocco, and he told me how the Muslims there treat them very well. They have the same citizenship as a Muslim in Morocco, and he said he loves Morocco. He always goes visit, and I asked him, how does your parents feel still living there? What about all the lies we hear from Fox News, how Jews are always terrorizing Muslim countries? And he looked right in the camera and he said, it's a lie, and my parents love it there. They could come if they want, they don't want to. They love their life there, and the people there treat me great. And then he pointed to his Palestinian friend who works with him, and he's like, this guy's like my brother, and we even took pictures together, and it will all be shown in the documentary. And I went to the rabbis called the Notrai Kartai. They're the ones who speak the truth about what really happened back in 1948, how in their own religion, the Torah, it says that Israel is not supposed to establish their own state. This is rabbis' time. And a few of the rabbis I went to see weren't home that day, but you will see in my documentary, every one of them on their door has a plaque that says Jewish, not a Zionist, in English, Hebrew, and Arabic.
Really?
Yeah, letting you know, and these are rabbis. These are rabbis telling you, you know what I mean? Judaism has nothing to do with Zionism.
Yeah.
Just like Islam has nothing to do with the Islamic radicals. Yes, the extremists.
So, you know, how about, you know, you talk about, in that documentary, you want to bring the daily life, the details.
Yes.
So take us through a daily life of a family you met or Palestinians. I mean, the work, how he goes, how to take public transportation.
Palestinians living in Ramallah, for example, they want to go to Jerusalem. Some of them get a tasrih, a permit to go into Jerusalem, to go pray at Al-Aqsa Mosque. To go there, they go to a military checkpoint, and the military checkpoint between Jerusalem and Ramallah in a city called Kalandia. That's called Mahsum Kalandia, military checkpoint of Kalandia. That is the worst of all military checkpoints in Palestine. It takes forever to go through there. Just to make their life a hell, they have, say, for example, 4 lanes for cars to go through the military checkpoint so they could get to Jerusalem. It's exactly from Ramallah to Jerusalem 10 miles. It should take 10 minutes. If you make it there through that checkpoint in 45 minutes, that's considered good. Many times it's 2 to 4 hours to go just through the checkpoint. They close 3 of the 4 lanes intentionally. Even though they have 4 lanes, they close 3 of the 4 lanes, just keep 1 lane open, so thousands of cars have to wait in line for 1 lane. And then when they eventually stop and check you, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to stand here and say every single Israeli soldier is cruel and rude. Some of them are just in the military. They want to serve their time and get out. They talk to you in a professional way, they talk to you in a kind way. But the problem is, majority of them, they have this arrogance to themselves. They have a 4-foot machine gun hanging around their neck, and they want to talk to you like you're an animal and talk down on you. That's it. That's just how they are. Just
And
like
this is a personal thing.
this is a personal thing. They want to make. There's actually thousands of Israeli soldiers. It's a Facebook page. Go to Facebook and look for "Breaking the Silence." These are former Israeli soldiers.
I saw that. People.
These are their testimonies, not mine.
Yeah.
Talking about how their government and their military superiors ordered them to treat the Palestinians like they're dogs, like they're animals. Their government telling them this. So they couldn't take it. They refused, and a lot of them were jailed. One of them is Benjamin Netanyahu's, his own nephew. He was also one of those that they call him refuseniks.
Yeah.
He went ahead and this was back like about 15 years ago. He went ahead and refused. He said, "I'm not going to be in the occupied territories anymore. This is inhumane. This is wrong what I'm doing."
And then we have only 30 seconds here. Why we don't hear about this stuff here?
It's very simple. Majority of the people outside the world stand with the Palestinians because they hear and they see what's going on. The American media have a stronghold and a big
different narrative.
different narrative and a big support of Israel because these companies that make the weapons in America, they support Israel because Israel is a stronghold for them to control the Middle East. And they do not see, the American people do not see what's really going on. If they did, they would change their view.
Hopefully your document will do that. Thank you so much, Sabry.